More every time when I leave, I'm begging you not to go. Call your name time to go. It's a funny thing for me to try to explain. How I'm feeling in my pride is the one to blame. Yeah. Cause all I don't understand just how you love you doing no one else can. Got me looking so crazy right now. Your love got me looking so crazy right now. Got me looking so crazy right now. Your touch got me looking so crazy right now. Got me looking crazy right now. I think you guys need some energy. I do. My name is Marissa Bludon. I am your host. I have my co-host and several of my contributing writers here with me, Kevin Long. We are in that house.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Wow, we had such a good time last week. It was so exciting. I just, my God, I'm so glad you're all back. I love the energy. I love the space that we're in. The conversation is right on point. We are in the month of February, which is the month of love. And everything on the Own It platform is focusing on a heart filled with love, impact, connectivity, generosity, appreciation, gratitude, and attitude, love of self and others, and walking always in forgiveness, because that's what love is, right? And that's what we need in relationships. In the love relation, we need to get along. We need to get along. Hey, you gotta let streamer or text me, put your name in, Facebook viewer, put your name in so we can see who you are, give you a direct shout out. We're excited. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Listen, we up on Valentine's Day, people. What's up?
Well,
I know.
Forward to for a lot of people, and I know that I've got a few ideas for a lot of folks out there who are looking forward to this week, especially this weekend. And I'm ready to go. It's been a rough week for me, but I'm ready to go.
It's been a rough week. What happened to you?
Just busy with so much to do and so many things on my plate. You know, it gets, things sometimes get jumbled up and you just want to sit back and say, I want it to be over.
Yeah. Life kind of happens to all of us, right? And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because when life happens, and then we'll segue, because we're going to talk tonight about dates. We're going to talk about that because we want a softer side. We want to talk about, the challenges. We want to talk about, we want to focus on, how we take those challenges and turn them into victories, right? But I want to talk about that. So when you're in a love relationship and you do have weeks like that inside the relationship, that you've been stressed out all week, how do you manage not projecting that into the relationship? How do you use the relationship as a getaway, like to escape, as opposed to having it do the opposite and become more of an adjutant, so to speak, inside the relationship? Because sometimes we do that, right? We get mad, and because we love somebody and we know they're going to love us no matter what, sometimes we take advantage of that and we snap at them, as opposed to using them as a way of escape. Because a girlfriend was on here, Dr. Shaw was on here last week and was like, look, girlfriend, because there's some way you can take that and use that energy in a good way, right? So Kevin, come on, talk to us about how you redirect. I know how to redirect it, but how do you redirect that energy?
It gets very, and something you said that, because we know people love us. And sometimes it does get easy to take advantage of that. When you just feel like snapping at somebody, there's always somebody available to snap at. But one of the things that you have to not forget, and you have to be cognizant of, is you have to have a place of peace. No matter what goes on at work, no matter what goes on outside of your life and the things that you're involved in, you always want to have that space. And you should think about your partner as a part of that space. That when you have a place for peace, like for instance, I come home, I want my home to be my place, my refuge, how I get away from no matter what's going on in the world. I can come home and I know it's not that crazy place. And you have to think about the people who are in that house or in your apartment, and no matter where you are, that they are part of that peace zone. And you have to always be cognizant of that. Don't ever let it go. Because that way, if you're always aware of that, you're going to treat those people like this is my piece, they are my piece. So that's one of the ways that you can to really kind of help yourself not, put the madness on your families or your loved ones or your whoever. It makes it a lot easier when you think of that. And I know it gets hard because it does, but as long as they have become first priority of your piece, then you're good.
And I'll say this, and I know, BJ, and I know Nathaniel want to chime in on this, but I'll say this: what's very important is you need to be very attracted to your partner. Like there needs to be a high level of attraction. When I say the attraction, I mean intimacy. That person should be able to diffuse you. That level of attraction, and I've experienced that. So I'm not saying that in a fantasy way where they know how to diffuse you. That's critical. I think sometimes when we go into relationships, we're looking at their finances, we're looking at this, we're looking at all of these criterias, but we're not looking at chemistry and flow. And so you need someone who can diffuse all of that, not agitate it and make it worse. And I think that some of that agitation comes from you don't really like them anyway. So, just keeping it real. You don't like them. You don't like them because people you don't like agitate you. When you are really, and I'm just real talk, when you are really attracted to someone, you think twice about mistreating them. You're not quick to just mistreat someone you really, really love and value, and you're attracted to them. Remember, this is the love relationship. This is a different relationship. Intimacy, squeezing your butt. I want to squeeze your butt. I want to hold your hand. I want to kiss you. I want to kiss you all over. I want to be able to tickle you. I want to laugh. That's romance. That's the love relationship. And so when you can operate like that, that's why it's a critical relationship. When you can operate like that, it's very rare you want to come at somebody the wrong way unless you really, really, really are in a place of high level irritation or just disruption of your peace. You're not coming at that person like that. BJ, Nate, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I was going to say,
Go ahead, BJ.
Ooh, ladies first. I was just going to say, we're both women, so we're both thinking about the same way, Marissa. I was thinking, for one, we were talking about what looks good on paper. Some of us do focus too much on what looks good on paper, what this list. Or he got a job, he do this, he do, he does, he's this and that and the other. This list, instead of focusing on the chemistry and how well do we get along. And I was going to say the same thing. If he's had a rough week, that energy.
You should be able to diffuse that.
Let's take that aggression to the bedroom. I mean, that's how I feel. Release everything in between the sheets. That's how I feel. Let's go.
Or even to be honest with you, even a rub down, a bath. There are so many different things that you can do to kind of alleviate. Just be a sounding board. Like you don't have to be the one who solves the problem for them, but you can be one who listens. And then Nate, I need to be quiet. But you need to be someone who listens, and you also need to know the timing of your injection of advice. So sometimes when someone is really, really irritated, they're not ready for you to advise them. They really need time to cool off from it and vent. So Nate, I know you needed to say something.
Well, I'll just take it back to our discussion last week. You can't do this, and a lot of people try this. People try to turn it on for that one day, the special day of Valentine's Day that's been created. It's something that has to be an everyday, year-round part of your life, because you can't just turn it on for one day and then turn it back off again.
That's not real anyway.
Yeah. And your partner is not going to really feel that because they know what's to come if it's different. The remainder of the year. So
it also depends on your partner, because if your partner is shallow, then yeah, that is it. If your partner is into things, then that is. But if you have a partner who, it has to be authentic, it has to be real, then all the gift giving ain't going to make a difference to them anyway. That's nice, right. But they want your heart. Real people want your heart. They want your heart. They want your attention. Like I said, now I'll tell you, to be honest with you, I'd rather make a romantic dinner. I like going out, But if I'm busy and I'm tired, I rather cook a nice romantic dinner. I know how to put the candles up, and I like to be home. I'm a homebody. Like I said, I'm used to being a wife, being married. I'm a homebody. We can wine and dine when that's appropriate. And then also I'm thinking about budget. So the way that I think, I'm looking at, do we want to spend money like that? Especially if I can make a lobster dinner at home. Hey, Robin, welcome. Robin is in the house. Thank you for chiming in, Robin. But, I like to be, I think about that. So all of those things are going through my mind is, when I think about things like that. Now, how does everybody like chocolate wine? Has anybody had any chocolate wine?
I have.
I've never tasted
have not.
No.
It's delicious. It's
so good.
I got a question though.
It sneaks up on you. It's so
yes,
good.
It does.
All right. I'm going to ask a question. How are we defining chemistry? Are we defining chemistry as something that is in our control, or is it something that just exists between two people? They just have it. So how are we defining chemistry? How do you see chemistry as being something that you control? Is it something that can evolve? Or is it something that just two people have? Like sometimes it's just there between two people. I've had relationships where it's been, bam, it's just been there. That chemistry has just been there. So how are we defining chemistry?
Well, I think it should be organic. What you're saying is organic. I don't really like to define stuff. So, because I think that when you get into defining it, it gets too finite for me. I'm a free-spirited person, so I'm more like, it's not always going to be in your control. You can control you, but you can't control the other person, how they're going to receive it emotionally, how they're going to receive it, how they're going to process it. You really can't control that. You can control you. Some of it is really, really natural. I think that in a love relationship, it should really be. When I think about 50 and 60-year-olds having to work on their relationship, I just don't understand that at this age, that you still got to work that hard on a relationship because of the fact that, and I see you, Dr. Shaw, I said, because I just feel like you should know your value system. You should know you should know your value system. You should know to appreciate. You could kind of know yourself. So I'm gonna be quiet, Dr.
No, what I was gonna say is, and I think I hit on it last week. Just like we have yearly evaluations for our jobs, you should have a yearly evaluation in your marriage, because things happen through the year. Your body change, your views change, your opinions change, different things change, and you have to adjust for the changes. The 50-year-olds, and while we did a contest and the winner was an 80-year-old gentleman and a 70-year-old wife, and it was 21 consecutive days of intimacy, no penetration required, and they won. They took the time to make sure they still had the energy and the connection in their marriage. And a lot of couples don't do that, but you have to want to make the investment. When Kevin was talking, yes, you have that connection, but some start off as just friends. Then you have to cultivate that energy and guide it in the direction you might want it to go. Some might want to go to lovers, and some might just want to remain friends. It depends on the connection.
Yeah, and I think it's got to be balanced as well. So we can't, especially with people listening, because I don't want people to walk away and say, well, they said if the chemistry is right, I want to get with that person and it's going to be great. The chemistry can be great and the other things aren't. So you got to take a balanced approach to it. You know, BJ, you still got to look at the resume. They still.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I tell my nieces all the time. The low bar is got to have a job, got to have a car,
Right.
got to have their own place to live.
Right,
That's the
right.
low bar, right?
Right.
So you want to look at that kind of stuff in conjunction with chemistry, but not just chemistry alone, because there's some great chemistry. And I'm gonna be transparent here. There are a couple people that I have known over the years that the sexual attraction is off the chart anytime we get next to each other. But that person would not be good for me, and I would not be good for them.
But let me ask you this. What if the person that you are off the charts with sexually, attraction, is married.
Oh, it's not going to happen.
I know it's not going to happen, but I'm saying that does happen. You meet people and you get this energy, and then boom, they have a partner.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. You have to cultivate, because you could be attracted to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the word, Kevin, when you say control, I think the word control and love, those don't even go together, those two words. Control and love, because you shouldn't be even thinking about controlling how a situation
When I say control, I'm not talking about controlling a person.
He's talking about
I'm talking about when two people are together and there's something there. I'm talking about the cultivation of the relationship. The chemistry, when we say chemistry, that's why I asked for definition. That's how they are sometimes. We like bam, 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 bam. Spell it out for me. Say it like this. Because sometimes women have a habit of believing that men can read minds. And
well, it's the same thing. Remember,
sometimes we ask, be clear about what it is.
I always say it's not
relationships that I've had with a lot of women, and this is just my experience, and with a whole lot of the women that I've been with, they tend to tap dance around what it is they really want to say. A lot of time, men look like come straight down Main Street, say what it is. So when I ask for, first of all, definition, I'm not trying to be clinical about it. I'm just trying to ask, what is it that you're saying chemistry is? And as far as being controlled, when I say control, when I say, can you control chemistry, meaning what is it that you're saying it is that we can kind of cultivate it or evolve it into something that's going to grow between us? That's when I say control, or I say if it's not controlled, just like she said, it's organic. It's just there.
Mm-hmm. So, but it can be influenced. So let me say this: it can be influenced, and how can it be influenced? It can be influenced by the time you dedicate. That's what Dr. Shaw is saying. It's the level of dedication. It's the activities that you involve in the relationship. That's a little bit different than what I meant by being in the 50s and 60s and not knowing. I mean, and playing the games and acting like you're in high school and all of this other stuff. It's different. I like the check-in. I like the annual review because that is good, and it doesn't necessarily be needed to be an annual review of changing body size or whatever. It's just an annual review. Say annual check-in. Hey babe, have I been satisfying you? Right. You can even do that quarterly. I say do quarterly reviews because I need to do a quarterly check-in, babe. How have I been doing? Have I been good to you? So that's what I'm saying. And it's I'm at the place where it should be a given where you're looking at someone to have their responsibilities in order. But I think that we've gone, from the 80s and into our current societal view is all of these things. You're getting checks and then you have all these criteria. No, we're not clinicians. We're not clinicians all around here. We're not. And why are we trying to define things? And then we get all bogged up and you're not enjoying
Marty,
it.
That's not so. That's not so. And don't misunderstand. I get what it is you're saying. But understanding requires
you can define yourself right out of a relationship.
Huh?
You can just find yourself right out of the enjoyment.
Yeah, but I think you're making more about defining a relationship. When I ask for definitions, I think you're making more of it than it really is. It's just a matter of clarity is what a definition is. If I don't know what my partner really feels, well, tell me what you feel. Well, that's a definition. Tell me what you feel. If you don't like this, for instance, you talked about this report. You said a quarterly report. Well, that's a definition because what are we doing? We're defining the status of where we are. We're defining the status of what we are. We're defining the status of what it is we feel. And we're bringing clarity through expressing what it is we're talking about.
So that's communicating. That's clear communication.
Well, I just call it defining, but that's what it is.
Yeah, right. It's clear communication.
Yeah, so you say that you don't understand when somebody that's in their 40s, 50s, and 60s they don't have it together. So here's a piece of statistics that might help you put that in perspective. Most of us that are walking around, our personality stopped developing at 7th grade. So when you look at an adult that's doing something in your brain, it's not matching. Why is that person doing that? That's childish. Well, their personality has pretty much stopped at the seventh grade level, and that's where they have developed, and they haven't done any additional personal growth and development. They haven't challenged themselves to grow and to stretch. So they don't have they may have the capacity, but they don't have the knowledge because they haven't challenged themselves and they haven't applied it. So that's a big part of why you're seeing what you're seeing out there with these older people and not being able to communicate effectively with their partners.
And to piggyback on that, you want? Oh, you can go. You want to go?
No, I'm
Okay.
good. I want to know where that statistic is. Where are those stats at? Where's that resource? I need that citation.
But to piggyback on what he said, it's also the same thing about what he said. Training, how we are trained in relationships with most of the time we're not, especially young men. We're not. If you start at the age 7th grade, which is about 12 years old, 13 or something, that is the age that if you look at most young men, they're being trained in their interest in women, and look at how they're being trained. It's about how many women can I get? It's about how much can I get? It's about that type of relationship. Well, today I like this one. Ooh, tomorrow this one looks good, so I'm dumping this one. I'm going over here with this one. Our young boys are trained from that age, and it seems like it's almost perfectly matched. From the age of puberty and you start to get older and older, our boys are not being trained to be in good relationships. And what happens, and I said this in the first article, that by the time they get to be 25 and older, they still haven't been trained. So what are you going to find? You're going to find men who are in their 30s doing the same thing they were doing when they were in their early 20s or their mid-teens, because men are not trained in the idea of relationships the way they should be in order for them to be monogamous and faithful men. They're just not trained that way.
Kevin, let me just put this clarity out there because I want the women to understand this. They're not men. They are males. And women have to understand the difference. A man can teach a male how to move into manhood, but as long as they're stuck in that 7th grade personality and with that behavior patterns and nobody teaching them, they're going to be 30, 40, 50 years old doing the same thing that they did as teenagers when it comes to relationships and women.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm charging y'all. You guys know. So what y'all doing with y'all brothers?
Oh, I can answer that.
Come on.
So I actually have a men's group that I work with year round, and this is a community service that I do, and we meet for an hour to 2 hours every Sunday, and we have men that are in the group. The youngest, I believe, is like 27. The oldest is 61, and we talk about any and everything, and we let especially the younger guys, we tell them what they're going to be encountering, what they're going to be coming across in their lives, and we're giving them some knowledge and some actual experience, giving some of our experiences to them. But we also get to hear what they're going through, and we learn a lot from them as well. So that's one of the contributions that I am doing to make a difference for males to men.
And I say that only because we see a problem and we keep talking about the problem, but what we want to hear as women and as leaders in our community, I know I'm a leader in the community. I want results. I want our communities healed. I don't like this. This is very frustrating for me as a person who is very results driven, and not results for just results. Our kids are being screwed up behind this. And then if our kids are being screwed up, then our communities are failing. There is no, if we don't get this right, guys, come on, we got to get this right. And I even charge my women to show up better. Show up better. Show up better. So I just feel like, and that's why I'm here. And I was saying to BJ, and I was saying to Dr. Joe, y'all can do the show because, see, my frustration level is I don't like doing all of this forever. We got to come to a place where we start seeing some massive level healing. Because
Marty,
I'm going to just tell you, this is not to be, listen, hear me out. Hear me out. My heart is good. My heart is good. Listen, I don't have to have another husband, brother. I don't need it. I'm on a mission to do what God has called me to do. So this whole thing, but what I'm seeing is my sisters. I had 24 years and it wasn't a crazy marriage. It wasn't like that. I don't have drama and trauma from my marriage. Actually, I was blessed. I lived a very, very, very good life. I'm good. But to see all of these women I can step out and I'm like, I'm good. I'm really, really good. I'm not looking for a Boaz. I'm good. But to know that the kids are suffering from y'all's the dysfunction, and to see that it's like, I just, my heart is like, come on, when do we wake up from this slumber and really realize the tremendous impact that it's having on the next generation and the next generation after that coming up? When do you guys hold responsibility for all of this?
Well, it's going to come down to the larger community doing it. No, I mean, Kevin's not going to be able to make.
No, I'm not saying Kevin. I'm not trying to put that.
I'm not going to be able to make your problem go. No, I'm just saying that we're not going to be individually be able to do it. All we can do is make contributions towards, and then the collective will start to be a ripple effect, and the collective will change. But, like I said, I have these men that I work with every week, but I also have a women's group, and they do their thing. And then we merge the men and the women, and we have discussions so that the women are not coming up with their own answers about men, because women telling women what men problems are is a joke. So it's like, if you want to know what men think and feel, you need to ask men. So we merge those two groups together so that we can have those types of discussions. And that's all part of the healing process, right? And as men, we get to hear directly from women what's important to them and how they want to be treated, et cetera. I think, one of the biggest mistakes that we have done as a society is we've stopped conversations. Mm-hmm. And the conversations are the lack of conversations has created a lot of the problems that we're encountering right now. So I think the only thing that's really going to undo that is that we got to start talking to each other. Men got to talk with men, women got to talk with women. Then we got to come together collectively and have that dialogue that's going to bring about the change.
And one thing I recommend that in the conversation, stop saying women do this and men do that. Change that dialogue. Change that piece of the dialogue, because you got women out here who will cheat and go through men like it's
absolutely
nothing. You got men who will cheat and go through nothing. You got women who are affectionate and not affectionate. You got women who are nasty. You got men who are nasty. So if we can take out of the conversation gender assigned behaviors, then I think that you will have an open dialogue. You'll have more reception in that sense. Because then it's not saying y'all are like this and we are like that, because people are people.
I have a question. I want to say that I want to say this to you, Marty, is don't get so upset about discussing the problem. I know people always say they want solutions, but understand it's just like math. There is no mathematical problem where the answer is not within the problem. If you understand the problem, and which most of this grand society doesn't understand the problem, they see the problem. No, they see the results of what the real problem is. Unless they truly understand the problem, they're never going to find the answer, because there is no answer outside of the problem. The answer is right there within the problem. And if people have the understanding of how the mechanics of the problem operate, then they can figure out this is the solution. But people are walking around, they know there's a problem. We all know there's a problem, but nobody understands the problem. That's what I'm talking about. Understanding the problem, but understanding it in a way that you can begin to say, well, if this is truly the problem, then the solution has to be such and such. So, I mean, I do understand what you're talking about. I know people want solutions, but
Kevin, we know what the problem is.
Right.
And we know what the
no,
solution.
we know the results of the problem is what most of us do.
No,
because you can ask any of these people out here.
I've been having these conversations for years. Dr. Shaw was going to say something. Dr. Shaw, I don't want us to deviate from the piece of the conversation before you have a chance to say what you were going to say.
I just have a question, and I think this will deviate from the conversation. If we go back a little bit, Nathaniel, listen, I'm gonna tell y'all one more. It's my birthday, and I love you guys, so I came on to have fun with you all.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. Nathaniel said, on the least of the poll, how did you word it? The lowest part of the poll.
Oh, the low bar, the least.
To have a car,
a place,
and a job.
And a job. So do you discuss that, or you just, how is that brought up? Because what if the person still lives at home with their parent?
Look, I can only give you my perspective, and this is what I tell my nieces. I told my daughter, and I tell my nieces, if you're going to get involved with and you know what, and it doesn't even matter if it's a man these days, because women are dating women and men are dating men. If you're going to get involved with somebody, they have to have a place to live of their own, because that shows that they have some growth, that they're not used to being taken care of by their parents or whomever was taking care of them, because you're looking for somebody that knows what it's like to have to survive and take care of themselves.
So I'm asking you, do you have that conversation with them about living? And I'm saying this because I had the same rules. I had the same cookie cutter thing, this on the box, red flag, and I walked away. I almost missed my husband because he lived with his mom, but I sat down and talked to him. I felt the inkling to talk to him. He sold his townhouse to move in with his mother to help her.
Yeah. And so you do want to have that conversation, because it's not a hard, fast rule. It's because there are exceptions to everything.
Right. And I just wanted you to just
elaborate on that a little bit.
Elaborate on it, because I don't want us to share that. It seems like you have a cookie cutter, questionnaire. If this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Because what I found out, you sold your townhouse to move in and help take care of your mother. How hard that is a big heart, that you would sacrifice your peace and your freedom to help your mom. So it was not a problem when we started dating. And I'm like, how are you going to be able to leave your mom? He said, I can leave my mom. We just come and check on her. But I don't want I want our audience to know that, yes, this is the low bar, but with some exception. Have a conversation.
Yeah, everything in a relationship is about communication.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. And you should be talking about that. And that's why I say that's the low bar. But you should be having a discussion about any and everything before you get in a relationship with someone. Because it's a partnership. And for the men, we look at things logically, right? In general, we look at things logically, from a logical perspective. And Kevin, this is what I'm saying. We know the problem and we know the answer. Men in general tend to look at things logically. Women in general tend to look at things from a heart space, right? The problem is, we know that as men, we have to learn how to get into our heart space and work logically and in our heart space. And women can't just operate from emotion. They have to bridge over into the logic. And that's where that communication of coming together is. So we know what the answer is. It's just a matter of doing the work now.
That's it.
Are you going to do the work?
The developmental work. The developmental work and being conscious of yourself within the emotion or within any given situation. And I'm going to say this to you, Kevin. It says, be angry and sin not. I'm upset because of what it's doing to our young people. I'm upset with what is going on in the family. So don't take it personally. This is my passion. And this is my natural level of response. This is my natural level of response. And this very personality is why I get stuff done. This very personality is why I am who I am today and why I'm in the position that I am. I'm not upset at anyone. It's just heartbreaking. Look at the state of the affair as a totality. This is bad. This is bad. And there's nothing light about it. It's nothing light about it. Our kids don't have good jobs. They're not getting paid as a result of this. There's such a large effect. That's why I kept saying to you guys in the past few weeks, this is bigger than just the couple. Once the couple come together, that's great. That's wonderful. But then everything as a result of that relationship outside of the intimacy and the partnership, the direct partnership, has a major impact on all those people who are connected with the relationship. And my degree is in psychology. So I know about communication. I know when we put too many rules and regulations on anything, you have to have the freedom to love. And men do operate from a heart. Men operate from a heart and women operate from a logic. I operate from logic because I'm strategic. My gifting is strategy. So I operate at a high level of logic. And I also operate at an equal level of passion, not emotions where you're all over the place. Passion, because I have a heartbeat behind what God called me to do. So we all have logic, and we all have emotions. But the key is our level of self-awareness, self-development, and how we lead ourselves to self-mastery. How do we navigate and regulate through the process? And so that's what we have to get inside the relationship. But we also have to give another level of freedom. When you dated in high school, you didn't put all these bogged down requirements. You met somebody, you were cool, you allowed yourself to enjoy the person. Now you're all grown up and you got all these, you're taking away the pleasure out of relationships. Come on, people, get the chocolate wine.
Listen, I totally.
You need the chocolate wine. You need the chocolate covered strawberries. You need to just loosen up. You need to loosen up and bring up that looseness. That's why I said in the beginning, we already know we grown as heck, right? We already know we need the people to be responsible. We got to have a connection. I got to look at you. Get the book, sweetheart, before I say I did. I want to look at my man across the room and be undressing him and saying, okay, we out of here. That's what I want. And we already know we taking care of business. The bills are paid. Everything else is paid. We already know that. And if we got to struggle financially, we're going to struggle. I want a Clyde to my Bonnie. And that we got to have fun, people. Put the fun and the love back into the love relationship. Right, Dr. Shaw? Come on.
Yes.
Come on. Y'all just all tight. I sit back and look at you guys. And I say to myself, they missing it. They ain't even having fun. Like Dr. Shaw said, I came on here to have a funky good time. And so we too
having fun.
We too heavy.
I'm like, oh God.
We don't need to be heavy at. We too heavy. We too heavy in the wrong places.
Yeah,
and
but
that's
look at what we're
messing
dealing
us up.
with. But look at the subject that we're dealing with, what's going on. And just like you expressed yourself, you talked about how it bothers you. And don't get me wrong. I feel your passion. I feel it right from day one. I get it. But when you start to deal in the muck and mire, you're gonna get dirty sometimes. So I'm not saying you can have fun. I mean,
I gotta take a bath, shower it off. I gotta do all of that. I'm good. Listen, we gotta get to a place where folks are really having healthy fun. Right, Dr. Shaw? We got to get to a place where we're having healthy fun and we're enjoying each other. We're in strife and we're in disagreement because we have lost what romance and what the love relationship was meant to look like. He said, God said, it's not good. Listen to where he was coming from. It's not good that man should live alone. But we're going to send him, we're going to create him a helpmate. And if he made us from you, then why the hell can't we get along? That's what I don't understand.
Because we've all deviated from what we're supposed to be. That's why. Men have deviated, Women have deviated. We haven't done right by each other. And this is the result because we have gone astray, far astray. I mean, treating, we, it gets so deep.
You just need the chocolate wine.
Yeah.
I should have shipped it to you all before we had the show tonight.
Everybody should be sipping on some wine tonight. My goodness.
Listen, I like the chocolate covered strawberries coming out of the hot chocolate. I don't like the hard. I want to dip it in the chocolate while it's hot and eat it.
I like the hard.
I like the bananas dipped. I like the bananas dipped in the chocolate too.
Kevin doesn't like strawberries.
No, you got the banana. You slice that banana.
There's a pineapple for you.
And pineapple. Pineapple is good too.
I love pineapple.
Oh my God, it is dangerous.
That'll work. Gotta see you can substitute that.
Yeah, because the pineapple is juicy too.
And you can taste like what you eat.
What you say?
I said you can taste like what you eat.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yes. Yes. Pineapple juice and cranberry juice.
Ooh, juicy.
Hey, Kevin, you know what's interesting here, and I don't know you well enough to put you in this category, but I'm an introvert. So to be an introvert on with these extroverts is like, wow.
This is why I knew. You want to talk about chemistry? I know he and I have it because I knew it from the first time because I can hear him. I see what he's talking about. I see where he's coming from. So we're right here, bro. We're right here.
All right, man.
Y'all too. We watching y'all too. We watching you guys too.
So I tell you what, Marissa. So here you is like, we talk about the problem. What are we going to do about it? So anybody that comes in, any young men that come in, or any men that want to come in through this broadcast, I will put together a group that will work with them to help them to move forward. Yeah. And I'll do that as community service. So we'll make a difference.
Yep.
So guys, when you get a chance, if you just drop in the comment section of the live broadcast all your contact information, it's on my main page. So we're broadcast on my main page. We're broadcast on Own It magazine. We're broadcasting the Author's Corner because this segment is based on the Sweetheart Before I Say I Do book, and it's also on my homepage. So let's make the connections. Let's give them an opportunity because it is about awareness. It's about awakening to yourself because we want healthy relationships. We want our relationships to cause one another to flourish because that's what they're meant to do. They're meant to cause us to flourish, not to be at odds with one another. And you can have a beautiful relationship and a fulfilling relationship one-on-one. You don't have to have a bunch of folks in your relationship. In fact, that's unhealthy. You pull in too many. You can't handle it anyway. You just can't handle it.
So can we flip the coin for a minute here? Mm-hmm. It's almost a societal thing where we focus in on what doesn't work, right? You look at the news is full of negativity, and that's because they're trying to get the ratings. But there's more good going on out there than there is that negative stuff that shows on the news. And the same thing with these relationships. There's a lot of problems in relationship, but there are a lot of great relationships out there. Mm-hmm. And we can't be talking in the month of love and not acknowledge all those great relationships that are out there. Mm-hmm. So I just want to, give a shout out to all those that are out there that are doing it right and that are passing it down from one generation to the next, and that we not just make it seem like it's all doom and gloom.
Right.
Because it's not, and it doesn't have to be. You look and you're just saying like, this should be so much fun. And especially in this time, to me, at this point in your life, when you're older, it should be a lot of fun because you know yourself. I'm comfortable about speaking about my sexuality. Why? I'm 53. I'm 53 years old. What the heck am I going to feel uncomfortable about? Anybody, we've been there, done that. You've had a good hair day, a bad hair day. You slip and fall. You did things have happened. So, life has happened, and things are going to continue to happen. And so we should be in a good space and place. We should not be in a place of insecurity. And when I always say to people, when you think about self mastery and knowing thyself, it's not about being perfect. It's about being cool with, I'm going to make some mistakes. You can fall in love with the good, the bad, the ugly, and indifferent about yourself and being okay with it. You're working it out. It's all good, right?
Yeah, and but it's also cultural, right? Because I'm building a home in the Dominican Republic, and you go there, and it's a whole different relationship in terms of women and men and how they interact with each other. It just seems like here in America we're so hypocritical, and we put so many rules and things and taboo, and it's like, we shouldn't have prostitution, we shouldn't have this, that, and the other, but there's more of that happening than we're it's like, come on, we need to look at some of these other places that do get that right in terms, and they are having fun, and they are enjoying themselves in each other.
And talking to a good friend of mine in the Dominican Republic, speaking of that, she says that the men are very affectionate, they're very giving, and she's like, they don't make money, but they are very, very attentive to you. It's a quantity. And so there is a different vibe. And the sad part here is that you have so many good people that, if they would just, I don't succumb to societal trends. I've been a bucker of them all my life. And that's why I don't have a problem with doing the things that I do and riding solo, because I'm not conforming to that garbage. I'm not doing that. That's not my thing. I got to do what's right by my convictions in my heart. And so, but we have so many good people that don't come together. They pick the wrong people. They're with good people or with toxic people, and toxic people with the good people. I don't understand this. I'm good. I'm glad. I'm that's why my thumbs is up.
When you have those type of relationships, sometimes you need those type of relationships to trigger those things that you need to heal within yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it also helps you to value. Like, if you really walk away from it, should help you to, when you come out bad at something that's bad, it should help you to value something.
That's a part of your healing, right?
Your hope
it should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely. I heard somebody say this. This was a number of years ago, and it was so powerful. But he said, when he left America, he started to heal. And, I thought that was like,
I hear that a lot.
And it's funny because where our priorities are in this country, we're image driven, we're capitalist driven, and things like that. And the things that should be prioritized, the relationships between people, is like the first thing they teach you in sociology is to be social, is to be human. And in this country, it's more like a machine. We're parts in a machine, and we're driven. We have to succeed to do this. We have to achieve this. And we have to. Where places like in Honduras, when I went to Honduras, I was like, oh man, this place is like perfect, like the greatest getaway, because it was such a quiet place. It was such a simple place. Where their minds were was something totally different than what America is. And it's a good country, financially, but where our priorities are when it comes to people is like in a totally different realm. And I think that when you think about places like Honduras and the Dominican Republic and places like that are a lot more simple, they have more time to focus on what does count, and that's the human being. And this country is just not that way,
Yeah, the simplicity of it all.
Yeah.
Just before the Christmas holiday, I went to Merida, Mexico, and it's not a touristy area at all. It's really family driven, but they really live life simply there. They spend time with each other. They cultivate their relationships. They work 4.5 days a week, because come Friday afternoon, 2:00, everything going to shut down because their priorities aren't, I got to work 60 hours a week. And it was such a great experience being there. It's just like, yeah, people need to get their passports and get out and start experiencing the world as opposed to just what's happening here. And I'm going to say this, and politically, I hope it doesn't hurt me, but we've been sold a bunch of BS in this country. And you got to be able to sort through what's real and what's not. And the only way that you can really do that is to travel and have the experiences everywhere, because especially as a Black male, you would think that Black men are treated poorly throughout the world. And that's not true. But you got to get outside of the U.S. to really experience and understand that. So get your passports, people.
Yeah, I say for women too. Get your passports too. Because I know I've been to different countries, and we're kind of worshipped in other countries for the color of our skin. Being melanated people. So let's get passports and let's travel together.
You can come visit me.
Oh, I'm coming. I'm going to the Dominican Republic. Yeah, we're going to the Dominican Republic this year. Yes, ma'am. We'll be there.
With your groups, Nathaniel, I would challenge you to get your groups to invest in their passports and then have their children invest in their passports. I do foster care, so I want to take my kids to Costa Rica. I just got back last couple weeks ago from Costa Rica, and while I was down there, I was in a car that was in a fender bender, and I'm like, oh boy, we're gonna be here for hours. They get out, looked at each other, looked at the bumps, and just drove off within seconds. I'm like, what happened here? I just knew we'd be there for hours, but it was a whole different mindset. Nothing was wrong with the cars, maybe a little scratch. Nothing was wrong with the people in the car. Just went away, and it's a whole different element. I've been to the DR. It is beautiful. It's awesome. I'm telling my age, but there used to be a airlines called Air Bahamas, and they used to have $99 flights round trip. And I would fly every other weekend to the Bahamas, every other weekend, because my friend would come up on the opposite weekends. I was a big girl. I've lost some weight, but I was a big girl. When I tell you they worship full-figured women down there, treat you like queens, like millionaires and billionaires, it's a whole different world. If you just get out of the USA box and fill up your passport, your whole attitude about life will change.
Yeah, and we do that in with the men's group. They have to get their passport. Because there's always challenges of you got to do this, you got to do that. Whatever your comfort level is, it's time to step out of it to be uncomfortable. And then they get comfortable, then we step outside of that. So it's constantly evolving.
Yeah. And that's how you grow. That's how you stretch yourself. If you don't stretch yourself, you never know listen, I always say you got to tap into and unleash your unlimited potential. You got to do that. That's where fulfillment lies. It doesn't lie in being complacent. It doesn't lie in that. It lies in being stretched and just saying, wow, I did that. Oh my God, I did that. I'm like stretching myself and doing 3 magazines a month instead of just 1. Who thought of that great idea? But we got to speak to the different audiences, and I can't wait for you guys to see the Lifestyles magazine. I think you guys got to see BTG and you got to see the 2 Own It, but you got to see the Lifestyles magazine. We're doing a full-fledged view of Las Vegas, and we'll be going around the world with the Lifestyles and Leisure Living magazine. So we'll be highlighting, once I'm in the DR, we'll definitely be highlighting that. The beautiful thing is I'll be on site to take the pictures myself. It's just a beautiful thing. You got to explore, you got to evolve, you got to discover, do the discovery work, discover what you love, what you like to do. That's why I said, hey, has everybody had chocolate wine? I know people that have never had it before. It is so good. And just like you said, Ms. BJ, it sneaks right up on you. It sneaks right up on you. I remember when I first had it, I was drinking it because it tastes like chocolate milk with a kick. drinking it. And the next thing you know, I was out because I'm not a drinker anyway. Do you give me two drinks? I'm going to sleep. But yeah, I mean, it's delicious. You gotta go out, you gotta explore, I eat sushi, you gotta do that. And I eat raw sushi. So, and I never thought I would eat raw sushi. Are you kidding? I've been eating it for only like maybe about a good 15 to 20 years. I've been eating sushi. Delicious. You just gotta make sure you got good quality grade meat. you know the difference immediately. If you're a sushi eater, you know the difference when they've got quality grade or not. But just gotta get out there and live. And I hear you when you want to define some things, but sometimes when we get in defining, you gotta tell people the deal. I don't like masking words. Tell people the deal. Be straightforward. You got to make sure you're clear in communication. But I think that sometimes when we get into the boxing, I mean, come on, you gotta have fun. You can mess up my hair. I don't care if you mess up my hair. I know how to put it back, right? Don't be rigid.
Now that is not true for most women. Come on. You know what? Look, Marissa, I appreciate that you allow your hair to get messed up and you can put it back. But that is not what's typical out there.
But did you hear me say earlier? You did, in fairness, you did hear me say earlier that my sisters got to check their behavior too. Right? And now some sisters, they can't afford the luxury of you messing up their hair because their hair just ain't right. See? So the real deal is this: they got to make sure, like you got to respect that though. If it takes them a minute to get it together like that, then there's a reason. They won't, you don't want your hair messed up. But I don't care. I don't care about getting my hair wet. I'm a tomboy. I don't care about you getting, So you got to have, everybody has their own things, their own pet peeves and boundary limits, right? They got their non-negotiables, and you got to respect that because you just got to respect that. But we got to have fun.
Let me get it straight so you can mess it up.
You gotta do that. You gotta have
know what you like and what you, like you say, know what you like and what you don't like. You gotta know your mate.
But I think one of the challenges around that is that people just aren't honest. Mm-hmm. If people just be honest with one another, right? But they just want what they want when they want it, that the lies and the deception that people that front that they put on, and that creates a lot of the problems. So if we can get people to just be authentically themselves, it'll go a long way.
Yeah, that's the
hardest. They're lying to themselves.
Absolutely.
First, you have to be honest with yourself first before you can be honest with anybody else.
Right. Yeah. So, but this is the deal too. And this is why, if you hear couples, and then we got to wrap it up. When you hear couples speak about being best friends, that's when it's important. That it's critical for you to be. And that's why I said I need a Clyde to my Bonnie. I cannot do just, somebody meets these criteria. I got to have a ride or die. Because if I have a ride or die, we are, high performers, like high performance teams, they drink, it's group think. So you got to partner with someone who has, they drink the Kool-Aid with you. Y'all drinking the same Kool-Aid. Because if y'all not drinking the same Kool-Aid, you're not creating a safe environment for which they can take off their clothes. So you have got to, some people can be able to listen, I'm cool. I'm taking off my clothes if I want to take off my clothes. If I don't take off my clothes, I ain't taking off my clothes. It's just like that. Some people are not at that point. You got to know who you're working with. And as a partner, you have got to make sure that they're safe. They have that safe place by which they can be completely, totally vulnerable with you with no repercussions. And you as a partner have to be willing and like Nate said, have the capacity to provide that environment, that safe zone for them. And that's what the partnership is really all about. According to Marissa, that is what it is about. Just, it is. You just gotta be real. And you gotta help. Sometimes you gotta help your partner be real. You gotta help them be real. That's where the work is, but the work shouldn't be like y'all. The work shouldn't be you clashing and you arguing and all that. Not at this age. I'm sorry. You should know how to talk at this age. That's common sense. All I'm asking for is common sense. Look, I didn't say common sense. All right. Last thoughts. Round robin. We got to close it out because we're already at the hour point. Miss BJ, your closing thoughts are?
I'll start with me. Let me
You're up there to my right.
I just say, I just think about when you're talking about how love used to be so simple. We've gotten so past the simplicity of love when a love letter, was all you wanted to get, or blowing dandelions into the wind. I'm a poet too, so I can't. I'm always in that space. Like love, it used to be so simple, and now it's gotten so complicated. And I just think we kind of, like you talked about, going to other places and seeing how other people live and their values. We need to get back to that simple love, So that's my closing thought.
Okay, you're up, Nate.
I would say that for most of us, there are more days behind us than there are in front of us. So live your life because there's no do-over.
Mm-hmm. This is it.
Take the rest of the time and just live and enjoy your life.
Yeah. Okay. And that's a great thought. And two things. One of the things Nate said when he talked about getting to your authentic self, would be the best example or should I say goal to get to. But also what makes so much of this complicated is going from what used to be where things were so simple, and we've gotten away from it, from going back to those simple things in order to really enjoy what it is. And it's hard to go backwards when you don't understand just how wonderful simple things are. Just like she talked about, I mean, that just took me back so far. It's ridiculous. But that's the kind of beautiful thought that you have to get back to if you want to enjoy a love relationship.
You gotta be, listen, I'm telling you, you gotta be like in the, how it was when you were young. You were like, okay, how long we gotta be at this party before one time? You might leave the party, right? Now you get older, you're like, okay, we gotta stay at this party because I don't really want to go home with him. What kind of mess is that? No, that's wrong. Right? Right to you, right?
That's right. My closing words are simply the title of the book. Before I say I do, before you give your love away, say I do to yourself and learn to love yourself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as we segue to Sweetheart, before I say I do, many people are looking for the book to be dogmatic. It's not a dogmatic book. In fact, it does do just what you say, Dr. Deshaw, fall in love with yourself. When you fall in love with you and you repair yourself, then you bring something treasurable to the relationship. Mm-hmm. So you have to. So that book is really about discovering what you want. What are your negotiables? What are your non-negotiables? What do you like to do? What are your greatest, like it talks about the dating and what kind of dates you want. I talk about all my fetishes. It's like, yeah, I like this and I like that, because be free and open with it. Own it. That's what this is all about. Owning it. The good, the bad, the ugly, and indifferent. And being cool with the transitioning, the evolving of yourself. We are constantly evolving. And those people who are awake to themselves are going to continue to evolve. They're going to continue to find great and new things about themselves that they discover along the way once they tap into and unleash their unlimited potential to live a rewarding and fulfilling life. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time. You guys hung with us. We're so happy that you hung with us because we were hanging in there. We went up, we went down, we went all around. And don't forget, people, get your chocolate candy, chocolate wine. And you got to dip some of that fruit. You got to be dipping and sharing, right? Dr. Shaw, share.
Each other.
Yeah, yourself and your lover, right? We're out, ladies and gentlemen.